3 spine-chilling New Year's Eve horror tales revealed, terrifying secrets of the cursed night. The Henderson house sat quiet, its white picket fence contrasting with the thickening gloom of night. Inside, 17-year-old Emma felt the chill seep through her bones as her parents busily adorned the living room, a mere veneer of holiday cheer drenched in a worry for each dollar spent. As colorful lights twinkled from neighboring homes, laughter echoed in the crisp Ohio air. This bustling suburb appeared a slice of paradise, but beneath its surface, something sinister flickered. Just wait until midnight. It's going to be amazing. Emma's mom chimed, her smile bright but eyes clouded with unspoken fears. Emma scrolled through her phone, thoughtlessly absorbing the festive images but feeling a tightness grow within her chest. Tonight was supposed to be filled with joy, but a creeping unease coiled around her thoughts, especially after reading about the Watcher, a spirit said to haunt unsuspecting families on New Year's Eve, its whispers seeking their hidden shadows. The tension in the air thickened as the flickering lights began, overwhelming the Christmas decorations with an inexplicable dread. The whispers turned into frantic echoes. Emma, they seemed to call, an unsettling harmony that rippled through her skin. She shook her head, attempting to drown out the sinister murmurs. Soon, the suburban greenery turned sinister, shadows dancing just beyond the window's edges as if mocking their perfect little world. "Everything's fine, right?" she asked her parents, her voice barely above a whisper. "You heard about the Watcher?" Her dad chuckled, brushing a speck of dust off a shelf, but the light in his eyes felt hollow. "Just old legends, Emma. Nothing to worry about." Meanwhile, her mom busily unwrapped a lovely table centerpiece, but Emma sensed that familiar tension beneath the surface. As her friends shared twisted stories about eerie occurrences around the neighborhood, her pulse quickened at the realization, their house wasn't the only one hiding dark secrets. The jovial exchanges between neighbors masked whispered tensions and furtive glances, faces turned away, eyes downcast. The once comforting atmosphere twisted into something grotesque as she saw suspicion shroud their shared cheers. Before she could voice her concerns, the doorbell rang. "Just a moment," Emma called, her heart racing, but her parents had already rushed outside, compelled by figures in uniforms claiming to inspect neighborhood safety. Leaving her alone in the suffocating silence of their dimly lit house, Emma trembled as a chill swept through the air, as if the world outside had conspired against her. She flicked through the chat apps, desperately scrolling through whispered tales of her neighbors' hidden sorrows, tales tangled in betrayal and resentment. Just then, a knee-jerk realization washed over her. The Watcher was not a distant legend, it was here, lurking among them. Suddenly, as the clock stabbed its way toward midnight, shadows flitted past the windows, whispers now ringing with urgency. "Emma," they called again, and the wall felt as if it trembled at the unheard warning. She could sense it, something supernatural stirred, overwhelming. Just before she could move, the world around her shifted. It was almost too late when her phone buzzed. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." A sudden crack echoed through the house, the lights flickering. The whispers crescendoed into an almost deafening chorus. She braced herself, heart racing as the clock struck midnight. Just as darkness enveloped her surroundings, a shape loomed, a twisted figure, a grotesque amalgamation of her neighbors, eyes filled with malice. "You should have kept your family's secrets," it hissed, every word biting deeper than she could imagine. In that moment, Emma knew. This new year held no promises. Only the crushing weight of revelation and horror awaited. The Watcher had come for them, and in a world where nothing was as it seemed, whose secrets would be the first to burn? Emma stumbled back, adrenaline surging through her veins. The figure wavered in the dim light, a silhouette shrouded in shadows and familiar faces, distorting into something grotesque. Her eyes darted around the room, searching for an escape. The once vibrant decorations and bright attributes of the holiday melted away like a cruel facade, revealing bare walls covered in the memories she had almost forgotten, happy family dinners overshadowed by whispered arguments. What are you?" she gasped, each breath a struggle against the cold air that enveloped her. The figure stepped closer, its form flickering like an old film reel, both alluring and terrifying. "I am every heartbroken wish, every hidden sin, every abandoned dream," it rasped, its voice echoing through her mind like a lost echo bouncing against the walls. Emma pressed her palms against her ears, trying to shut out the sound, but her body was frozen, caught in the spectral grip of this nightmare. "This is just a trick. You're not real," she shouted, desperation lacing her tone. But the laughter that bubbled up from within the figure dripped with malice. "Oh, but I am. I am their watcher. I see everything." With each word, the shadows around it seemed to swell, wrapping around the room and tightening like a vice, threatening to smother her light. The figure pointed a long bony finger toward the window, where the streetlights flickered, casting elongated shadows that twisted and contorted in ways that shouldn't be possible. "They protect their secrets, so desperately, secrets that were never meant to be buried. They will come for you, Emma. They will come for all of you." Panic surged through her, ice-cold and relentless. Her heart raced, thoughts collapsing in on themselves. Memories of her parents laughing in the living room, her neighbors smiling during backyard barbecues. Were they all hiding something? Had she missed the signs cloaked beneath those forced smiles? Just then, the front door crashed open. "Emma!" Her mother's voice broke through the chaos, and the figure hesitated, eyes narrowing. But it quickly regained its focus, shifting its stance as if a hunger stirred inside it. "You can't protect her, not from the truth," it shrieked, a sound that sliced through the air as if tearing reality apart. "Get away from her!" her father shouted, rushing into the room, yet the menacing figure merely laughed, echoing through the now infested house. Emma could feel the fear radiate off her parents. Their eyes were wide, reflecting the terror that rippled through the atmosphere. "What is going on?" her mother cried, glancing around, but Emma barely registered her words. In that moment, a shattering realization hit her. The Watcher fed on their secrets, on the silent fears that lurked in the dark corners of their home. Each whispered prayer, each hidden resentment brought it closer to life. "You have to face your darkness to survive," Emma screamed, her voice trembling but loud. The figure twisted, shifting back and forth like a flickering candle. "Ah, how sweet. You think courage can save you? Everything has its price." With renewed determination, Emma sprinted toward the entity, her heart pounding against her ribcage, propelled by instinct. "You don't scare me," she declared, shoving her fear aside. But doubt gnawed at her. The dark shadows loomed larger, wrapping around her soul, threatening to crush her spirit. The figure reached out, and Emma felt a chill grip her wrist with icy fingers. "We all share these burdens, child. You can't sever the ties that bind you to the truth," it whispered, its breath hot against her skin. The air crackled with tension, the world thickening as if about to collapse. But just as Emma opened her mouth to scream, a sudden blinding light surged from the window, illuminating the shadows in brilliant white. "Look! The light!" her father shouted, pulling his family closer. "Trust it." The dark figure writhed, screeching as the light pierced through its essence. In its moment of desperation, slips of the neighbor's dark secrets flared bright, hovering in the air like fading embers. Emma felt them, the weight lifting as she understood each crack and discord tied them all together. But deep inside, she knew that this was not the end. From the boundless shadows behind her, more whispers stirred, writhing with dark promise. "What are you going to do next, Emma?" The malice of the Watcher still echoed in her ears, and as the light burned, she realized this was only the beginning. As the first rays of dawn began to penetrate the suffocating darkness, the price for survival lingered in the air, teasing a deeper mystery lurking within. What price would she have to pay to finally confront the truth she desperately needed to uncover? The light throbbed, pulling at shadows like a dark tide receding. Emma held her breath, feeling the heat of it against her skin, yet the disorienting whirl of energy gave her hope. Her parents stood beside her, eyes wide and frantic, awash in a mixed expression of dread and relief. "What now?" her mother whispered, clutching her arm, so tightly it stung. Emma turned, her gaze fixed on the trembling figure. The watcher, still flickering with that unnatural light, was staggered but determined, claws of darkness curling around itself like a wounded animal. "The light won't save you, Emma. You are still bound by the secrets you carry," it hissed, its voice twirling like a sick melody in the air. Desperation clawed at Emma's chest. "Secrets?" she echoed, confusion clouding her mind. She glanced at her parents, searching their faces for answers. The weight of unspoken truths hung heavily in the air, thick and suffocating. "What are you hiding from me?" "It's not safe," her father breathed. "We've tried to protect you." "By lying to me?" Emma felt the betrayal burn. If they were living in shadows, how could they ever expect her to be brave? The feud of fear and truth began to dance in her veins. "You can't just keep burying things. The Watcher feeds on your silence." The light pulsed again, brighter this time, forcing the entity back a step. Emma felt an instinctual urge to move toward it, to harness that radiant energy. The shadows hissed, threatening to engulf her. "Let it go, Emma. You have to fight." Her father shouted, a thundering authority cutting through the chaos, but doubt clawed at her mind. What was their fight really about? Was it against this monstrous truth, or against the bonds that linked them together as family? With the figure visibly staggering, Emma seized the moment. "You don't own me, Watcher. I'm not afraid." She thrust her hands forward, aiming to project that light toward every shadow clinging to the dark corners of her mind, every fear left simmering beneath the surface. The figure shrieked, a sound that sliced through the bedroom air like glass breaking. "You can't face them alone. Secrets will consume you." It howled, pressing against the edges of its prison of shadows. Emma's heart pounded like thunder in her chest. Then, a rush of wind swept through the room, coaxing the light higher, brighter. With each breath, she felt the embers of truth rekindle within her, ready to explode. In that moment, the world shrank to just her and the Watcher. Nothing outside existed except that fierce confrontation. "Tell me," she screamed, pushing against the darkness. "What do you want from me?" The Watcher's face twisted, revealing shadows of her parents entwined within it, distorted like reflections in a broken mirror. "I want you to see. They've buried it all. Their secrets are your chains, and when they come, you will find no one to save you." Emma felt cold fingers claw at her ankles, eager to pull her back into the abyss. She looked back at her parents, their faces a blend of anguish and understanding. "What chains? What do you mean?" With a sudden surge of defiance, guided by the fierce light still illuminating the room, she screamed, "I won't back down. I want to let your darkness win." The Watcher recoiled, its form cracking and splintering like ice underfoot. "The truth is the worst of all curses. It is where darkness begins." It shrieked one last time before it erupted into a swarm of shadows, scattering across the floor like smoke. For a breathless moment, silence fell. Emma stood trembling as her parents fell to their knees, choking on the very truths hidden beneath layers of deception. The air was thick with unspent revelations, and beneath it all, an insidious whisper began to unfurl. The Watcher, though gone, had not ended. What lay in the corners of their home? What terrible truths awaited in the light? Emma's heart raced. "What are we going to uncover?" she whispered, the weight of her family's secrets heavy in the air, begging to be acknowledged. With every tick of the clock, she knew it was only a matter of time before the Watcher would return, and this time, it would demand a price. The walls felt like they were closing in, each tick of the clock reverberating against Emma's eardrums like a hammer striking steel. Her breath quickened, and she could taste the metallic tang of fear on her tongue. She kneaded the palms of her hands against her thighs, grounding herself as she gazed at her parents, now hollow-eyed and raw, like marionettes whose strings had been cut. "What have you done?" Emma managed to whisper, her voice trembling. Shadows danced across their faces, flickering with the remnants of the Watcher's dark energy. They looked up at her, their silence roaring louder than any words could. Her mother finally spoke, the words hesitant and halting. "There are things, Emma, things we buried deep. Secrets that could unravel everything." She swallowed hard, her throat thick with unshed tears. "What secrets?" Emma demanded, a sudden swell of anger surging through her. What could be worse than this? She gestured to the remnants of the chaos the Watcher left behind, but her words fell like stones in a still pond, rippling only faintly before fading away. Her father clenched his fists, a storm brewing in his eyes. "You don't understand. Keeping you safe, it meant keeping you in the dark." His expression twisted into pain, raw and agonizing. "But maybe it's time you faced the truth." Emma stepped back, every instinct screaming for her to retreat. The air crackled with tension, thick and unyielding. Shadows began to twist again, as if sensing their unease. She felt them crawl along her skin, dark and clammy, whispering promises of despair. "We tried to protect you." Her mother covered her face with trembling hands, her voice breaking. "But the Watcher, it knows. It thrives on our fear and our silence." Emma felt a pang of realization. "You brought it here, didn't you? Your secret summoned it." The accusation spilled from her lips like bitter poison. Every fiber of her being wanted to run, but she steadied herself instead, pushing down the tide of panic rising within. "No, it was never meant to be this way," her father said, desperation lacing his words. "The darkness has always been a part of us, since before you were born. We had hoped it would spare you, that keeping the truth hidden could protect you." Emma felt her heart clench, a cold grip of hopelessness washing over her. "What darkness?" Her voice was strained, caught between disbelief and a yearning for clarity. "What are you hiding?" Before they could respond, the whispers became screams, shattering the fragile silence. The temperature dropped, and Emma could see her breath fogging in front of her. The lights flickered as the shadows, emboldened by their trepidation, began to rise again, twisting and flickering like flames consuming the air around them. "You will never escape." The Watcher's sneering voice echoed from the walls, though the entity itself was nowhere to be seen. "The curse is born from your blood." Stumbling backward, Emma fell against a wall, the chill biting into her. "No, no. You're lying." But the darkness thickened, swirling and enveloping her like a smothering blanket. The light dimmed, shadows coiling like serpents around her family as they cried out. Each scream was swallowed up by the darkness, their faces contorting in horror as the Watcher continued its assault, a malevolent force reveling in their fear. Emma clutched her head, determining that she would not be a victim of this cycle. With each shuddering breath, a lingering dread clawed at her resolve, twisting her gut like a vice. Then, a faint glow flickered in the corner of her vision, a small lamp, unnoticed. Desperation ignited her courage. "I'll find the truth," Emma shouted, pushing against the tide of shadows. "I'll make you tell me." But the room quaked as waves of darkness surged, and she felt a looming presence coiling around her once more. The Watcher would not let her go lightly. It hungered for her fear, and her family's past wanted to drag her under, and as the shadows threatened to pull Emma into their depths, she clung to the last shred of light, determined to shine through the dark. But would she unearth truths better left buried? Would she bring light into darkness, or would it consume her whole? With dread coursing through her veins, she realized she had already begun to pay the price. What haunted secrets would she awaken in her quest for the truth? Emma's heart pounded like a wild drum against her ribcage. The shadows thickened around her, a living, breathing entity swaying with malevolence. She could feel its hungry gaze piercing through the dark, watching her with a predatory fervor. "I want to let you win," she murmured, more to herself than to the looming darkness. The lamp flickered brighter, pushing back against the onslaught of shadows just enough for Emma to catch a glimpse of her parents. Their faces were twisted in terror, a horror that sent a fresh wave of dread roiling in her stomach. "Mom! Dad!" She cried out, desperate for any connection to the world outside this nightmare, but their eyes were glazed, as if entranced by something beyond her reach. They didn't respond. It was as if the Watcher had stolen their voices, their souls. A whisper curled around her ears, the sound like rustling leaves in a dry wind. "You think you can fight? It's futile. They belong to me now." The room trembled. Emma gritted her teeth, determination surging like ice coursing through her veins. "No. They are not yours," she shouted, gripping the cold lamp with shaking hands. The glow blazed fiercely, illuminating the swirling shadows pressing close. With a breath stealing her resolve, she took a step forward. The Watcher's laughter echoed, a chilling sound that made her skin crawl. "What will you do, little girl? Your light cannot keep me at bay forever." But Emma couldn't back down. The faint glowing shielded her like an unseen barrier. A deeper darkness settled within her heart, channeling a surge of strength she didn't know she had. "You think I'm afraid of you?" She spat back, her voice rising. "You don't know what I'm capable of." The shadows quivered, a moment of hesitation that made her pulse quicken. Using the lamp, Emma forced the light toward her parents, desperate to break whatever grip the Watcher had on their minds. "Mom! Dad! Fight it! Come back to me!" Their faces flickered, momentarily revealing the depths of their fear and confusion. A crack formed in the oppressive darkness, and Emma saw the glimmer of recognition in their eyes. Emma, her mother's voice, nearly a whisper, broke free from the shroud. "You must get out of here." "No," Emma insisted, fear choking her words. "Don't give in. You're stronger than this." But the shadows surged again, roaring like tormented souls, drowning her mother's voice. "You want the truth? You will have it." The Watcher's words slashed through the air, then suddenly, the lamp flickered ominously. Emma's heart dropped. Was it going to fail her too? And as if in answer, the light dimmed, and the room twisted violently, as if reality itself was fraying at the seams. The air grew heavy, laced with a suffocating dread. Someone screamed. Was it her? The shadows poured into her mouth, wrapping around her insides, each tendril of darkness tasting of bitterness and despair. Emma's hands fell limp to her sides as the electric crackle of fear surged once more, pulsing with the rhythm of her heart. Her eyes darted around, searching for an escape, then, from within the suffocating veil, her father's face emerged as a ghostly visage haunted, but now trying to fight back. "Emma, the book," he gasped, struggling against the shadows. "You need to find it." The floor trembled beneath her, cracks splintering outward as the shadows writhed. "What book? What are you talking about?" But the Watcher screeched, drowning out her question. "No. You will not delve into the past. It will destroy you." Emma felt her knees buckle, fear wrapping like a vice around her throat. "Don't let it stop you," she screamed, clawing for her strength. "We can break this." But as the darkness deepened, she felt the formidable weight of something ancient and terrible close around her heart. Hope flickered, but it wasn't extinguished yet. "Where?" she gasped, struggling to sound brave against the shadowy tide. "Where is the book?" The walls pulsated, a heartbeat echoing like her racing pulse, as the Watcher's voice slithered through the dark. "You will not leave until you discover the truth." In that moment, chaos erupted. Cracks in the walls widened, revealing glimpses of something buried, a promise, a curse, a truth she was unwilling to face. As despair clawed at her, the darkness surged once more, threatening to drag her into its depths. Was she ready to sacrifice everything for the truth? Would the book hold salvation or doom? Emma took a deep breath, fear transforming into reluctant resolve. I will find it. The shadows shrieked, swarming, and Emma braced herself for the battle of her life. And as her resolve began to fracture, a glimmer of hope flickered in her heart. But what awaited her in the dark? The darkness around Emma roared like a raging ocean, each wave of shadow threatening to sweep her into its depths. She closed her eyes for a brief moment, gathering whatever remnants of strength she had left. This wasn't just about her anymore. Her parents were trapped, and she would do anything to save them. The lamp flickered wildly, fighting against the encroaching void. Find the book. Her father's words echoed in her mind as she gripped the base of the lamp tighter, the metal biting into her palm. She had to find it, she had to understand. Where is it? Emma shouted, her voice strained against the cacophony of screams swirling in the shadows. What does it look like? A moment of silence followed, a pregnant pause that felt like a predator's breath before the attack. Then the watcher's voice slithered through the shadows, oozing contempt. The book lies where darkness meets despair, where the heart of fear dwells. Seek beneath the old oak, the one that weeps. Realization hit Emma like a bolt of lightning. The old oak tree behind their house. It had always been a place of mystery, its gnarled roots seeming to twist with secrets. But what could she find there? The shadows writhed as if sensing her renewed determination. You're wasting your time, Emma. Shame and treachery will lead to nothing but death. The watcher warned, its tone mocking, menacing. Shut up. Emma yelled, her own voice shaking with uncertainty. She turned to her parents, the lamp's light bathing their faces in a sickly glow. Hold on. I'm going to find a way to save you. Before she could take a step, the darkness surged, pulling her back. Emma noticed a shadow swirl into a thick tendril, reaching for her. It lunged, wrapping around her wrist like a snake, its grip cold and unyielding. Panic flooded her heart as she struggled to free herself. Don't resist, little one, the watcher taunted, its voice now a gravelly whisper. The darkness is your only friend. Embrace it. No. Emma screamed, feeling the ice grip of despair. I refuse to let you win. With a burst of will, she yanked her arm free, the lamp's light flaring in response. A blinding radiance shot forth, searing the edges of the shadows. It shrieked, and she felt the weight loosen as the tendril recoiled, momentarily burned. Go! She shouted again to her parents. Fight it. I'm coming back with help. She turned, heart pounding, racing toward the door that led outside, knowing she might not return. As she flung the door open, the frigid night air hit her like a cold slap. The yard was coated in a layer of frost, the moon full and bright above. She sprinted toward the old oak, the shadows whispering her name. As she reached it, the trunk appeared gnarled, twisted more than she remembered. It loomed ominously, beckoning her closer. Faster. The watcher bellowed from behind her. You'll never find it. It's all a lie. Ignoring the voice, Emma knelt beside the tree, her fingers brushing the frost-covered roots. She dug, heart pounding louder than the shadow's threats. What if the watcher was right? What if she couldn't find the truth or save her parents? But she wouldn't stop. She clawed at the earth, and with each handful of dirt, she felt the air grow thicker, the darkness press closer. The roots squirmed beneath her fingers, alive and pulsing. Help me, please, she murmured, desperation creeping into her voice. Suddenly, her fingers scraped against something solid. A small leather-bound book. Her breath caught in her throat as she pulled it free, feeling the weight of inevitability in her hands. The shadows thrashed around her, howling in anger. A surge of energy pulsed from the book, filling her with a strange, warm light. She opened it, pages flipping wildly. She had to know. She had to discover what horrors and truths rested within its fragile spine. But the watcher's voice exploded around her, more furious than ever. You will regret this, Emma. You will pay the price for your defiance. Terror and resolve clashed within her. She had the book, but what now? Could she wield its power against the darkness? As shadows coiled tighter, ready to strike, Emma stood at the edge of something far greater than herself. Let us see what happens next. The weight of the unknown was heavy in her hands, but she wouldn't back down. Not now. Not ever. What awaited her as she confronted the truth? Would this book be her salvation, or would it seal her fate? The moment Emma opened the book, a gust of wind swept through the clearing, howling like 1,000 lost souls. Pages flipped rapidly, revealing cryptic symbols and dark illustrations that seemed to pulse with life. Each page turned felt like a heartbeat, quickening her pulse and filling her with unspoken dread. Stop! She yelled at the shadows creeping around her. Just, let me read. But the watcher's laughter echoed, a sinister sound that shattered the fragile night. You think knowledge will save you? You are too far gone, little girl. The darkness craves your fear. She dug her nails into the edges of the book, desperately scanning the pages. Words twisted and writhed, forming sentences that sent shivers racing down her spine. They spoke of sacrifices, ancient curses, and rituals performed beneath the very oak under which she knelt. A cold sweat trickled down her back as dark images of past victims flashed in her mind, their faces twisted in horror, mouths open but unable to scream. Was this the fate that awaited her? Was it already too late for her parents? No! She shouted into the encompassing gloom. I want to think like that. With each page that turned, she felt the shadows close in, suffocating her resolve. The watcher's voice slithered through the air. You were warned. The book is a guide, yes, but it is also a trap. You're playing a game you cannot win. Emma's heart raced faster. Then I'll make my own rules. She slammed the book shut, the impact sending vibrations through her veins. For a moment, silence hung heavy. Then, a rumble of anger emanated from the shadows, undulating like a storm. Tendrils lashed out, striking at her, but she held the book tight, drawing strength from it. The oak creaked ominously, its roots shifting beneath her feet. She could feel it come alive, urging her to act. What do I do? She whispered to the book, half expecting it to reply. Strangely, the pages began to page again, slowly, deliberately. The words aligned, forming a message: unravel the secret, at the witching hour. Panic gripped her. The witching hour was near. She could feel time slipping away, seconds turning into heartbeats. She had to move. There was something in the book about a ritual, a means to push back the darkness, but she needed ingredients buried deep within the earth. Now, Emma. The watcher's voice wrapped around her like a noose, constricting her thoughts. Do you dare? Gathering her courage, Emma jumped to her feet. You're not winning this. She sprinted toward the oak's base, where the shadows swirled hungrily, twitching like dark serpents desperate to devour her. Emma plunged her hands into the frozen soil, fumbling in the tangle of roots, a sickening mix of cold earth and pulsing darkness brushing against her fingers, sending waves of nausea through her. I need something. She yelled, her voice rising above the encroaching chaos. Suddenly, her fingers hit something soft. A buried bundle, slick and wrapped in an old cloth. She pulled it free, her stomach churning as she unwrapped it. A small vial, its contents glowing faintly against the shadows. The essence of fear. She breathed, the ground trembled beneath her, and the shadows roared, furious. In her heart, she felt the pull of dread. She knew this was only a momentary respite. Come on, Emma. Think. She urged herself, with the essence now in hand. She recalled the book's pages. The rituals she needed to perform, the incantations that could harness this dark power against the Watcher. But would it be enough? Would this work against something so ancient, something that fed off fear? A laugh, chilling and guttural, pierced the air. You continue to struggle. You'll never escape the darkness. Emma gritted her teeth. Desperation surged within her. She had to act fast. She took a deep breath and began to chant, words trembling on her lips, desperate for the strength to turn the tide. As she spoke, shadows writhed in fury around her, crescendoing into a cacophony of chaos and madness. Would her voice break through? Would it bend the darkness to her will, then? Without warning, a blinding flash erupted as the shadows recoiled. The oak trembled, shattering the stillness, as if awakening from a deep slumber. Now is not the time to falter, Emma. The watcher hissed, and she felt the weight of its malice pressing down like a heavy fog, but as she chanted, energy surged, the shadows pulling away in retreat. The question echoed in her mind. Was she truly the force that could turn them back? Emma pressed on, heart racing, knowing the final moments loomed. With each second, the stakes escalated. What would happen when she unleashed this dark power? Would it save her, or plunge her deeper into an abyss from which she could never return? The shadows flickered like dying embers, swirling chaotically around her as Emma took a stand. The truth behind her desperate chant hung in the air, weighty and electric. Could she truly summon enough strength to fight back the darkness? The ground surged beneath her, pulsing in sync with her racing heartbeat. The oak tree, once a solemn sentry, now emanated a raw energy that fed her determination. No! The watcher screamed, its voice laced with fury. You are not meant to wield that power. Emma's mind raced, searching the depths of the book for a final incantation, a final chord to strike against the dark entity that loomed over her. As she chanted, the essence of fear glowed brighter, illuminating the surrounding darkness in ghostly hues. Shadows battered against her like a storm, screaming with indignation, clawing toward her, desperate to snuff out her feeble light. Let the essence of fear return to the shadows. Emma shouted, her voice growing stronger. She was trembling, but with every word, she felt the pull of the energy within the vial synchronize with her chanting. The shadows retreated just slightly, revealing path after path of hidden truths buried beneath. Fragments of knowledge from the book came back to her. Blood must be offered to the ground for the darkness to be quelled. She realized. Panic gripped her as clarity dawned. She was running out of time. The witching hour was nearly at hand. Give in to me, little girl, whispered the watcher, its voice taking on a honeyed yet venomous tone. This is futile. You are but a link in a never-ending chain of terror. Emma felt dizzy, the darkness whispering sweet promises to her. But chaos seethed beneath her skin. Images of her parents flashed through her mind, their faces pale and frozen in fear. She was not just fighting for her own life but theirs. I will not let you take them. I'll summon more than fear, I'll summon strength. With a swift motion, she pressed the vial to her palm and let it shatter against the earth. The liquid seeped into the ground, radiating a pulse of light that coursed through the roots of the oak. The air thickened as the shadows writhed, recoiling from the brilliant burst that erupted from her heart. Pure, unwavering resolve, thunder rumbled overhead as the darkness hungered for the essence, greedily consuming it like a feast. Emma continued the incantation, her voice growing bolder as a surge of vitality filled her. The shadows, now writhing in agony, shrieked like banshees, threatened and rattled by her growing power. Suddenly, a piercing scream echoing from beyond the darkness froze her in place. It wasn't a distant cry, it came from right behind her. She spun around, gripping the book tightly. Standing at the edge of the clearing was a figure shrouded in shadow, its face hidden. It stepped forward, light vanishing as it approached. Emma. It was her father's voice filled with dread and sorrow. You must stop. You don't know what you're unleashing. His figure seemed to shimmer, half-formed like a mirage. An uncontrollable surge of hope clashed with undeniable terror lodged in the pit of her stomach. Dad? Is that really you? Don't listen to the watcher. He yelled, but the shadows erupted into a frenzy, resonating with a malevolence that crescendoed around her. You can't trust it. It deceives. The energy she had conjured was slipping away as confusion overwhelmed her. The shadows flickered, elongating, twisting into hideous forms. They began to converge, darting toward her, as the oak vibrated hungrily with its cries, urging her to summon more power. Emma, make your choice. You must choose between the light and the dark. Her father cried, the urgency in his voice breaking through the torment. Her breath caught, every ounce of her being screaming to save her family. But what was the true cost? Just as the shadows lunged forward, darkness crashing like an avalanche, she froze in fear. Could she embrace the light, betraying everything she had known? A strangled cry erupted from the depths of her chest as a scorching orb of energy formed in her hands. Brighter and more powerful than anything she had ever conjured before. Would she gamble on family or bow to horror? And in that moment of unbearable uncertainty, a choice loomed over her, thick and dark. What would her answer bring? As uncertainty roiled within her, she couldn't shake off the feeling the hour was closing in fast, and with every second ticking away, the essence of fear was no longer the only thing swirling in the fray. What choice would she make in the end? What price would be paid at this wicked hour? Emma's heart thundered in her chest as the shadows closed in. The screams of the watcher tangled with her father's warning, creating a cacophony that rattled her resolve. Panic gripped her, planting icy fingers deep within her bones. Would she surrender to the darkness or risk everything on the fragile light of hope? Choose. Her father's words echoed through the fog of her fear. You must act now. With a shudder of determination, Emma raised the orb high. It pulsed with energy, blinding in its intensity. She was teetering at the edge of a precipice, the abyss of shadows beneath her feet. The oak tree behind her quaked, its branches clawing at the sky like a drowning swimmer reaching for light. But she could not falter. I will not let you have them. She screamed, defiance swelling within her. The shadows recoiled, a violent wave crashing back, but the watcher laughed, a sound like shattering glass, echoing through the clearing. You think you can stand against me? Your power is nothing without sacrifice. Her palms burned as the orb blazed hotter, pain coursing through her, feeding her resolve. I choose. Emma's voice cut through the swirling chaos, fierce and unwavering. I choose the light. The shadows surged, crawling closer, dark tendrils reaching for her that dripped with hungry malice. Yet the orb in her hands blazed brighter, sending out tendrils of light, pushing against the encroaching darkness. Stop! Her father cried out, terror flooding his voice. You don't know what you're doing. But Emma's fear morphed into clarity. The power within her wasn't just a weapon, it was a connection to everything she held dear. She plunged her hands forward, casting the orb towards the heart of the menacing black swirl. As the light tore through the gathering shadows, a blinding explosion erupted, illuminating the grove in a wash of gold. For a heartbeat, she thought she felt her parents' presence beside her, as if their spirits joined against the encroaching tide of darkness. But the watcher howled, its tendrils snapping back in agony, recoiling from the brilliant onslaught. You cannot win. It roared, yet the conviction was fraying, threading thin as the light splintered through the shadowy veil. Emma felt the ground tremble, fracturing under pressure. The ancient oak shuddered, its roots writhing like panicked serpents. And then, with a violent burst, chunks of earth flew upward, crumbling beneath her. Before she could react, the ground opened up, a black maw ready to swallow her whole. No! She gasped, stumbling backward as dread consumed her. I want to let this happen. The energy from the orb exploded outward, a last defiant flare. Then the space around her warped painfully. Sound screamed in and out, a ballet of chaos as shadows twisted, morphing, and howling with rage. Emma's heart raced, but then she noticed something. Amid the chaos, fragmented silhouettes began to materialize from the shadows, familiar faces, her parents, desperately reaching for her. Emma! We're here. Their voices blended with the darkness as if trapped within its furious grasp. No! I need to help them. Emma shouted, lunging forward, desperate to break the pull of the abyss. Stop! The darkness surged, radiating an electric charge that made her skin crawl. A deep dread wrapped around her as she fought against the shadows pulling at her. The faces of her parents distorted, flickering like a dying flame. Emma! Listen to us. They urged, but deep inside her, doubt wormed its way through. Was this reality or just another trick? As terror closed in again, the Watcher's haunting laughter echoed all around her. You think you can stop it? The darkness is eternal, and it knows you with every ounce of strength. Emma pressed forward. A final resolve surged within her. You do not own me. I will fight. What she hadn't known was that the shadows could change their form, and with a horrifying realization, they morphed into something terrifyingly familiar. No! Emma screamed, stumbling back. The faces looming around her weren't just shadows. They were themselves. Each version gleamed with the weight of regret, eyes filled with sorrow. We were wrong, don't make the same mistakes, they whispered. The connection shook her to the core. Could she truly escape the inescapable? As she clawed for an answer, the ground beneath her crackled, and everything dimmed. Time stretched, seconds morphing into eternity. And then, from the depths of the void, she heard it, an ancient promise that echoed through the shadows, chilling her to the bone. A real choice had just unveiled itself. Would she plunge deeper into the darkness, or could she break the chains woven with despair? Emma's breath hitched as the watchful eyes of the shadows glimmered in unison. Make your choice, Emma, before time runs out. The chilling weight of impending doom settled in. How far would she go to save those she loved? The hourglass tipped, and every grain of sand whispered one final question: what would she sacrifice for salvation? Emma's heart raced, the weight of the Watcher's voice echoing in her mind. Make your choice. The shadows twirled around her, their whispers clawing at her sanity. She felt her parents' faces fading, trapped in an unfathomable darkness. Desperation clawed at her gut. I will not lose you. She screamed into the void. The orb of light pulsed in her hand, a fiery beacon battling the dark. You're lying. She shouted at the shadows, which morphed into fragmented versions of her family faces twisted in sorrow. But the love she felt for them glowed brighter than any fear. I see you. Emma cried, summoning all her willpower. I see the pain you're hiding, the life you've carried. The air crackled as her words resonated, forcing the gnarled shadows to falter. The Watcher wailed, you think you can break free? The truths you've uncovered will lead you to ruin. But Emma felt the warmth of the orb radiate not just light, but hope. She had fought too hard to let go. No! She shouted. I choose to embrace this. The energy surged through her veins, the light revealing more than just their fears, it illuminated their shared love and shared burdens. Emma, her father's voice cut through the din, raw with anguish. This darkness has festered for too long. Just let it consume you. Never. She refused. The shadows, writhing in anger, tried to encircle her, but she pushed forward, seeking her parents through the horrific distortions. You are not your secrets. You are love, you are strength. With that declaration, she hurled the orb toward the twisted forms, its brilliance erupting in a shower of fire, flames of truth tearing through lies like paper. The darkness shrieked and twisted, fighting back with fury, but Emma held firm. Light reveals. Light cleanses. I won't shy away. She chanted, the energy around her intensifying. It felt as if the lights of the evening sky were colliding, merging their brightness into her desperate call. Then, for a moment, everything felt still. The shadows quaked, hesitated. Did she really have the power to drive them away? As her adrenaline surged, she reached the peak of her resolve. I refuse to let you take them. She screamed with everything she had, releasing her light into the heart of darkness. In an explosion of color, the dark tendrils recoiled, an agonizing howl reverberating through the air as they began to dissolve. Faces flickered, shifting in a kaleidoscope of tortured imagery before falling into dust, dispersing like ash on the wind. Emma. Her parents emerged, their figures straining to break free from the last remnants of despair. She held out her hands, beckoning them closer. Come to me. We can break this together. But time wasn't their ally. The Watcher's voice crescendoed, a growl echoing through the waning shadows. You can't keep them. They are bound by their lies, like you. No. The words burst forth, fierce and unwavering. We are more than our fears. As the light expanded, her parents were sucked toward her, wrapped in its loving embrace. Emma felt their warmth against her skin as they collided into each other, a breathtaking union of resolve. Then, suddenly, the swirls of darkness dwindled, howling as the last of their tempestuous hold was diminished. The lofty shadows screeched, their voices drowned out by the glory of pure light. In that moment, Emma felt a rush of freedom wash over her. They were no longer bound by secrets or fear. The power wasn't the darkness or the Watcher, it was the love that held them together, a love strong enough to shatter chains. With one final thrust of light, the shadows dimmed and faded into nothingness. The ground gave a final tremor before settling. Breathless, Emma opened her eyes, her heart pounding. The night sky wrapped around them, the world quiet and still. The pain that had once clouded everything melted away, leaving behind a sense of peace so profound. Emma, her mother breathed, eyes shining as she held her tightly. You saved us. We all saved each other, Emma replied, looking at her parents, feeling their love radiate. The darkness was gone, the Watcher reduced to a whisper. But in their hearts remained a promise, a commitment to light, to truth, to each other. Together, we'll face whatever comes next, Emma vowed, strength blooming in her chest. They turned toward the horizon, knowing they were still a family, still whole, and free from the burdens of yesterday. As dawn broke, spilling warmth over their faces, Emma knew this new year was different. It was a fresh start, one they would forge bravely together. Now was their moment. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. The creators need your support to keep these tales alive. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. We want to hear from you. And don't forget to instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. This is the moment to show your support, true fans. Don't wait even one more second to share.